People had many thoughts following the last episode of the Game of Thrones spinoff, and that's only expected from a show like that. But we now know that there may be something in the store to satiate those viewers. Apparently, House of the Dragon Season 1 had quite a few scenes that were left on the floor of the cutting room, so would they have made the show better? Let's get into it. The final cut that we saw had plenty of time jumps, so it should be no surprise that there was a lot of material that was left out and didn't make it into the final show. What was surprising though was the physical release of the series didn't include any of those scenes in the list of bonus features. Fans were annoyed because they'd never gotten to learn more about Rhaenyra helping her best friend Alicent get ready to marry her father, King Viserys, or even see Sir Criston Cole being sworn into the King's Guard. There was just way too much that happened between those time jumps that we didn't get to see. Stuff that really could have been super interesting and allowed viewers to develop a deeper connection to the characters. It just all felt too rushed. For a while there, it seemed like those deleted scenes would be lost to us forever. But rejoice, there's some good news on that front. The House of the Dragon DVD release might just include them after all. The latest episode of HBO's official House of the Dragon podcast, The Sounds of Westeros, revealed that the show's first season's DVD release was going to feature deleted scenes. From what we know, the DVD release is going to have over an hour of bonus features, including 2 never-before-seen featurettes. But we don't have any official confirmation from HBO yet, so we wouldn't recommend getting your hopes up until then. So, what can we expect from the much-awaited deleted scenes? This series had most fans of the show rooting for one of the most complex characters on the show, Matt Smith's Daemon Targaryen. He has his own fan base at this point, people who aren't too pleased with the turn his character arc took toward the end of that last season. They complained that they gave his character too many wild swings toward the end, ones that made little sense to most fans, who felt like the writers had completely butchered their favorite character. Following the shocking finale, social media was flooded with angry fans over the scene where an enraged Daemon strangles his third wife, Rhaenyra. Although House of Dragon made some successful book changes like Laenor's fate and Rhaenys crashing Aegon II's coronation with her dragon, Daemon's moment too with Rhaenyra has been branded a miss by most viewers, especially since they found out that several key scenes showing a more sympathetic and emotional side of Daemon were cut throughout the season. We could possibly see things that would explain Daemon's character and actions more. For example, there's a scene that includes the heartbreaking death of Laena, Daemon's second wife. She commands her own dragon to torch her because of the pain of childbirth complications. It's a pretty important moment in the series because her death ultimately frees Daemon up to marry his niece, Rhaenyra. Once they've got Laenor out of the way, if it wasn't for their union, it's unlikely that the war would be going in the direction we see it going. Even though he moves on from Laena at lightning speed, a still from a deleted scene shows Daemon consoling his daughters following their mother's death. It proved his affection and deep care for the girls, and by extension, for his dearly departed wife, something that was conveniently left out of the final cut. There are allegedly many more scenes that show him being a lot more compassionate than what we saw in the final cut. The final cut depicts him as someone who is almost incapable of feeling human emotions, but when the show is filming, leaked set photos show him lying in the sea at what we can now guess is Dragonstone. Close-up shots in the finale show that this comes following the death of his child with Rhaenyra. Speaking of the birth scene, others have claimed that a scene of him caring for Rhaenyra was also cut. Apparently, he tended to her immediately after the tragic passing of their newborn and told her they needed to burn the child's body. Paddy Considine, who played King Viserys, also confirmed that an important scene between him and his brother was cut. Viewers were moved by that one scene that shows Daemon helping his disheveled brother up the Iron Throne, picking up his crown from the floor and placing it gingerly on his head. So imagine what a reaction more shots like that would have got. According to Considine, Viserys was going to tell Daemon about Aegon the Conqueror's dream, which has a major tie to Game of Thrones and the fight against the Night King. Even though Daemon isn't told about it, just the implication that Viserys almost confided in him but stopped short would have changed the dynamic between them significantly. For now, the only person who knows the full prophecy is Rhaenyra, which is what we see her using to laud over Daemon in this scene where he strangles her. When you put all those scenes together, Daemon's aggression toward Rhaenyra makes a bit more sense because viewers are more likely to believe that he acted the way he did because he constantly felt like he lived in his brother's shadow. The physical DVD release titled House of the Dragon: The Complete First Season is currently available to pre-order and will release through your retailer of choice on December 20th, 2022. Deleted scenes aside, just extending the season by 3 more episodes may have added more coherence to the story. As we mentioned, the large time jumps in the show inevitably meant that a lot of notable events had to be skipped. So why couldn't they just have made more episodes? If they'd added 3 more, they would have been able to start the season earlier in the timeline. George Martin himself said that he liked the idea of starting the series a generation earlier with Viserys and Rhaenys' father. That could have easily covered another 3 episodes. This could have also delved into the relationship between Aemon and Baelon during King Jaehaerys' reign. In this version, Aemon's death would end the first episode, and the second would focus on the debate over who would be the next heir, Rhaenys or Baelon. Jaehaerys would decide on Baelon, but the succession crisis would begin anew with Baelon's death. The third episode could then cover the political drama centered on the Great Council of 101, featuring all the divisions and corruption among the lords. After Viserys' succession to the throne, the series could skip to what became the actual first episode of the show. Don't you think this version would have given us a much clearer explanation of the Great Council's decision and explored the previous resistance to a woman inheriting the Iron Throne a bit more thoroughly? The latter would have set up Rhaenyra's plot a lot better as well. Additional episodes could also account for a lot of time jumps. Shortening those jumps and adding more episodes would have answered questions, like how Criston Cole faced no consequences for murdering a man at a royal wedding. We might also have had some clarification on his growing friendship with and loyalty to Alicent, as well as how Alicent and Rhaenyra's friendship dwindled. The time could also have been used to expand some roles so their deaths would have been more impactful. Alternatively, 3 episodes between episodes 5 and 6 could have addressed the problems between Rhaenyra and Laenor to make Rhaenyra's relationship with Harwin Strong clearer as well. We already know that it's a public secret that Harwin fathered her children, but we don't know when and how those rumors started. Did Alicent go to Viserys right after the birth of Jacaerys, or did it take a bit longer? A dive into Alicent's campaign to identify her former best friend's children as bastards would have been intriguing too. A lot of plots from Fire and Blood were dropped to tell the story in 10 episodes. With more time, some of those plots could have been re-added. For example, Rhaenyra's tour for suitors in the book was much more drawn out, so it introduced many more houses, showing the division of who supported Rhaenyra as heir and who didn't. Even the problems with the Triarchy were just brought up every now and again instead of being delved into deeper. That would have made for such an interesting subplot. In the released version of the show, we were introduced to the problems with the Triarchy pretty early in the season, but it was over as quickly as it started after Daemon unceremoniously defeated the Crab Feeder in episode 3. Later, after another long time jump, we learned that Corlys Velaryon was injured after fighting a Triarchy resurgence for 6 years. We know he emerged triumphant, but we don't know how. With shows like these, fans will always be hungry for more, especially when they know there's so much material to fill those gaps. But more episodes would have meant spreading out the budget, which may have deprived us of some of the core moments. So maybe it's better this way. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think the season needed more episodes and a more drawn-out storyline? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.